Great. Well, welcome One Team Strong and Team Abundance to our Tuesday night get together, our connection time. I love seeing all the faces. As we mentioned, I know several in Phoenix are at a live event, so we hope you're catching this recording after the fact, and anyone else who can't be on. But tonight, my dear friend Angie Horn and we are fresh, hot off Next Gen. It's a big Juice Plus weekend in Nashville that we attended, and we are super filled up and fired up and wanted to share some things that we felt just tied right on in with our book this month on Get Over Your Damn Self, and a lot of tips and tools. So that is what we are going to cover with you guys tonight. One thing is that just like we need super powerful meals to fuel our body to be strong and powerful, we need really strong meals for our business. And it's an acronym that I think you guys can walk away with tonight and really realize, okay, wait, am I thinking about all of these foundations for my business? So the acronym is MEALS, and it stands for mindset, energy, activity, language, and skills. And those 5 things we're going to break down for you. It is fascinating when you think about how successful focusing on those 5 things can be for your business. So first with the M, the mindset, I think it's super important and very apropos that our book next month is called Train Your Brain. And we're going to be focusing even more on mindset. But even in our book this month, she talks a lot about mindset. It's super important, the mindset that you have. If you're thinking in your mind, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson. Well, we're not salespeople. Like, that doesn't even make sense. It's almost like if someone says that to you, they don't understand what we do. They don't know yet. So you've got to help them change their mindset that we're not salespeople. The other thing, it really is, your mindset is where your values and your joy intersect. And that can help shape your whole vision. So you have your core values and the joy, and where that intersects, that's where you can find it. A lot of times it comes from being in a place of gratitude, focusing on the customers you did get, the people who do respond rather than the ones who don't. And you do, what it takes for your mindset to make a shift. And that was the whole theme this weekend. All the trainings were on shifting. What shifts are you going to make? So I want to encourage everyone to focus on their mindset and what shift that is. For instance, you may sit and look at our business and say, I want this. I want to finish my 2000 plus. I want to hit fast track to sales coordinator. I want to be an NMD. And you can mean it through and through, but until your mind truly believes it and you shift into willingness. So it's not just the want to, but the willing to do it. You have to be willing to step into action, but it's all in a choice in your mindset too. So being positive and productive, it's really important to think of your mindset. The E is energy. And there was one example that I'm going to give you guys because it's cheesy as all get out, but it absolutely rocked my mind in thinking about the importance of the energy that we bring to things. Like, you need to shift your energy before you pick up the phone. I don't care if you dance around the room, wear a smile. They used to say years ago in our training, smile before you dial. It's super important that you bring positive energy. One example that really brought it to life for us this weekend, they had us get up and go introduce ourselves to someone that we didn't know. Okay, so of course you're like, hi, I'm Julie Mahajer. I'm from Jonesboro, Arkansas, whatever. Great. We went back to our seat. They said, now go introduce yourself to someone, but treat them like they are a friend you already knew. Well, you do bring a different energy to it. It was like, hi, it's great to see you. How have you been? I mean, it's amazing, just the little tweak in the situation, you bring a different energy. And then the last one was, now go approach someone, but approach them like they are a friend, like a dear friend you haven't seen for a long time. Well, my example is the best example of energy. I happened to, when he was giving the instruction, glance over and make eye contact. It was someone I did know, but I knew we were meant to connect on this exercise. But it was Emily Kozlowski. She's a little 20-something, darling girl from St. Louis, just sideline buddy that I've known. And she kind of winked at me, and I was like, yeah. Well, in my brain, if you've ever seen the previews or ads for the show like The Bachelor or Bachelorette, they always show the girl running to the guy and he picks her up and she wraps her legs around him. And in my mind, I was like, I want to like run to Emily and wrap my legs around her, but I was in a little mini skirt, so that wasn't going to happen. But in my mind, that's what I was like, the energy I was going to bring to this long lost friend I hadn't seen for a long time. So he goes, ready, go, from the front of the room. And Emily and I run to each other, and I hug her, and I kind of lift her up, and her legs went right around my waist. And I was laughing so hard inside. And she was like, I didn't plan to do that. And I'm like, I did. Like, that was exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted that huge, cheesy embrace. And it was awesome because truly, you guys, the energy you bring to a situation can light up a room or it can dim it. And she just laughed. She goes, I was not planning that. Like, you did that. I go, all I did was like hug you hard. And, but in my mind, I had willed it to happen. So I just want to encourage everyone, think about the energy and know that when you leave a meeting, if you didn't like the energy in the room, then think of it, put it on you, okay? Because your energy can turn. Now, you may not change an outcome, okay? Yes, I willed her legs around me, but you can't always control every outcome. But your energy can truly change. If someone's being really standoffish, but you just have awesome love in your heart, like for those of you who are at conference and you heard Billy Leonard in his NMD speech, and he said, I will never be more than the love I give in this very moment to whoever is in front of me. And he is just pouring his love energy into whoever's in front of him at that time. That's the kind of energy you want to bring, positive, loving energy. So we loved that. And just know that whatever energy is missing, you can bring it and you can try to change it. So the A, activity, Miss Angie.
Okay, so the A is for activity is the next in line in the meal that we want to feed our business. So I need everyone to unmute just for a second, and then I'll tell you when to mute back. But I want to tell you that your activity has to match what you want. You have to think about what you really want. Your activity has to match that. So tell me what you think and I'm reading this so I get it right. I get a little tongue twistipated. What is the highest payoff activity, number one, that you think? What do you think it is in this business? The number one highest payoff activity. All at once now.
Connection calls.
Connection calls. Okay. Yes. What else?
Shout out, whatever you think. There's not a wrong answer. It's okay.
Events.
Events. Okay. What else?
Follow up.
Follow up. What else? Guess what? You all got it right. The number one payoff event, or the highest payoff event, is talking to people. And you're all talking about talking to people when you're doing this. Guess what the number two highest payoff activity is?
Talking to people.
You got it. You are a smart one. Guess what the number three highest payoff activity is?
Talking to people.
It's talking to people. You did it. You know what it is. So guess what? If you want activity that's the highest payoff, it's got to match what it is you want. So if you want to walk the stage and get those flowers from your sweet pea, maybe that's it. Or if you want to be a raving fan, great, that pays you off for just enough orders to pay for your food. But whatever your activity is, it's reflected on your calendar. So whatever your calendar has on it, that's what you really want. But talking to people is that highest payoff activity. Let me find me. Don't give up.
Yep, we'll never give up on you, girl.
One other thing I want to leave in your brain about activity is if you're attached to the outcome, and that is you go on to a conversation, whether it's on Messenger or with someone, and you're attached to an outcome and you're going to be disappointed if they're not doing it, there's two columns to divide your brain into, and that is I'm going to do whatever it takes, or I'm just going to ignore this. They just said no, I'm going to ignore them and not get back with them. Or they just said, this is like making me have gas leaks. I'm going to ignore that. I'm not going to get back to them. So that's what's going to happen if you expect the outcome. But if you're really loving on people, like Julie just mentioned, whoever I'm meeting, I'm pouring myself and my energy into, guess what's going to happen? I'm committed to the process. Yes or no, I've got a good friend. Yes or no, I'm loving on someone. My mind's off of everything except loving on someone. I'm committed. My business is going to grow.
Yep, that's right.
Julie.
Committed to the activity, but not attached to the outcome, and just talk to people. You were all right. Connection calls, events, text, Facebook, doesn't matter what type, but talking to people. So the L in meals is language. And this is one thing that we need all of your help with, not tonight. You don't have to unmute again. But moving forward, it was so cool to hear Chris and Nikki Cotton talk about the shifts they've made in the language that their team uses. Because your language truly determines your reality and the language that we're bathing in. For those who have been part of Brave Leaders, we love talking about all of Brene Brown's terminology, the stupid first drafts and rumbling with your emotions and reckoning and all of that. It's like a new fun culture for our teams to start doing if you're reading Brene Brown or part of Brave Leaders. But then when it comes to how we name our activity, there are some shifts we can make and start using different language that completely changes the energy around it. So for instance, how many years or how many of you guys have used the word dripping? I'm dripping on them. Well, dripping is really like torture. I mean, there's an actual torture called water torture, and it's dripping. So instead of dripping, if we shift our language to saying we are going to love on or shine on these people, it can change your whole energy around the activity of, okay, you got to keep dripping on them. No, keep loving on them. Keep shining our information on them. So that's one. Instead of follow-up, which we have heard, and it was so funny, one whole training over the weekend was on follow-up. So we know the fortunes in the follow-up, but how many of us avoid follow-up because it feels like a chore? It's like, okay, I've got to make 20 follow-up calls, or I need to do follow-up. Well, instead of that, instead of saying, follow-up, it's not as positive. And all of a sudden I'm blanking, and this is really tacky, but Chris and Nikki Cotton, actually, they're like, we call those FU calls. Like, you don't want to make follow-up calls. But she's like, it's not. And they call them empowerment calls. Or it could just be, transformation calls. I mean, they had a couple different things that they have. And Angie, why am I forgetting?
Connection.
Yeah, just connection calls. Thank you. Yes. So you're going to make that connection. You're going to check back with them. But if you are someone that follow-up has had you like imprisoned and you don't like doing follow-up, think of it as just connection. I'm going to do that connection call. I'm going to make that connection. You want to share everything in as positive language as you can. For a lot of people, they're not looking for a business. And so a lot of us already do this naturally. We talk about our mission over our business. Instead of calling it a business, call it a mission, so they feel part of something. And instead of like saying, I got a new customer, say I attracted a new customer. That's one thing you want to attract. And Christy, I'll have you mute out.
I muted you.
I got it. Gotcha. I got it. Okay. So instead of say I got a new customer, I attracted a new customer. Instead of I closed the deal, they say I opened the door. I opened a door for a new customer or a new team member. So that's just a shift in language. But then as far as our calls, when you think, okay, I have to make such and such, three-way calls. We are already really good about not calling it a three-way. I think we're using that term connection call, and it's what Stacy taught us. It's soul to soul connecting. It's a gift, you guys. It's beautiful. So definitely connection call instead of three-way. And customer care isn't bad, but you can also start calling them love calls. So, that's what you're doing. You're loving on your customers. You're trying to help that raving fan become more of a distributor. And then one of my favorites for distributor care, when you're talking to a distributor and helping them move a little bit further in to whatever their goals are, they call it abundance calls. And so we would love to start using some of that language with our team, that we have our connection calls, our love calls, and our abundance calls. And just the joy that can bring your heart and the freedom it gives you to be excited about that activity, I think is really, really powerful. And just thinking about our language and the words we're choosing to use. We all know, and she talks about it in the book too, about, the negative voice in your head. And it's so true. We want to listen to that voice of truth and think how we can move forward with positive language that we're kind of bathing our mind and our thoughts in too. So, and then that is the L of meals. And then Angie, the S.
So the S in meals is your skills or your skill set. And Chris, when he was talking about it, he drove the point home of when we have a skill, that means something we've mastered. So if we're talking about in the Juice Plus company, one of the things we practice until we master and it just flows out of us is our story. Like we can just spit that out because it hits home. It's real to Julie, how she was able to help herself get through her autoimmune disorder and raise her family. Or it's real to me that I had energy and I didn't have to juice for my husband when he was so sick. So when we master those things, they come right out of us. So the 7 skills that we want to master, the first one is prospecting. So that means I have to have a way or a skill set to talk to people. Well, if it's up on top of my brain, it just comes out of me. When someone starts talking and I'm just loving on them, or I connect with them through Facebook, if they have the fortune of being the first 10 people in my feed when I sit down to work, whether they're on my chicken list or not, I'm like, I committed to you. That don't mean I'm going to throw up Juice Plus on them. That just means, oh my goodness, I saw that your father-in-law's in the hospital with a blood clot. I'm going to whisper a prayer. That we start loving on each other and it just comes out naturally. Guess what? His blood pressure's up. Let me bring some things by that I've tried that really helped Dennis get off his blood pressure medicine. You could give this a whirl. Tell me what you think. So we are actually prospecting that way. The other thing that's really kept me in line with prospecting is using Teamsy, and you're going to hear me say it till the cows come home, because I wanted to do this business so bad, but I didn't have anything to hold me accountable, and Teamsy does. Like, I can't let it go to Night Town until I have entered everything I've talked about all day long in there. And then the next is inviting people to the mission. So when I get someone's attention and I feel like they're ready for it, or if it's someone I don't know and I don't care if they're ready or not, here it comes. I will put out the Freedom Revolution bid and say, hey, tell me what you think about this. Just watch this bid. It might not be for you, but if someone comes to mind that is, while you're watching it, would you pass this bid on to them and let them see if they would like to add another income stream? And then presenting, which would be actually connecting that bid to someone or inviting them to an event. We do Qigong here on Thursday nights. We do recipe tastings or Powerball parties or whatever floats our boat. And then some one-on-ones. And then the next thing is a connection call. So instead of the FU, we're doing this connection call and going back to see what's going on with these folk and if they're ready to place their order. One of the best things I know to tell you is in my list the other day, Tammy Batchelor came up, and I've talked to her for about 1.5 years just if I bump into her about what she always wants to know what I'm doing, and I tell her she orders for a hospital store. Well, the other day she came up in my feed, and I thought, man, I've talked to her enough, and I skipped her. But then my gut said, you promised, keep your word to yourself. So I went back to her and said, hey, guess what? I've been thinking about you a lot lately and following your house. And I'm also now I offered you fruits and vegetables. Would let me send you this video, Experience Juice Plus, so you know what's in those things. I don't know if I ever told you. She went, oh my God, I'm driving home from church. And I have Facebook up trying to find you to see if you mention what your business is in your Facebook feed, which I don't typically. And she goes, I want to order. So I made a connection back to her. And then customer to distributor, then I am going to be doing a loving call. If I've got a customer, I might say, are you ready for another income stream? Or they might mention to me that they're looking for a part-time job, or that they want their kid to have dance, but they can't afford it. And then I love on them just a tad wink. And then I give them a great start, which means that if they're interested in the business, I connect them to a national marketing director, who is Christy or Julie. And I will tell you, it's their divine pleasure to connect, because it's been mine to connect with people who are interested in the food or in the product. And then we do business building, which is connect them to the freedomrevolution.com site once again, but talk to them about the radio dial and how to get their happy selves trained. Sometimes I'll send it to someone that's just heater on the edge so they can see how easy it is to start their business. So that is the 7 skill sets and the meals.
Thank you. And that is the GoPro skill sets. And it's, layered in our book from last month too. And I think you're going to find it in a lot of the business books that we're reading. It's those basic skill sets. But as Angie said, it's like riding a bike. I mean, it will just happen naturally the more you do it. So it takes that practice. And you reminded me of another language term that we can all shift with our teams. And that is chicken list. So Nikki Cotton doesn't call it a chicken list. She calls it a power list. Yeah. How awesome is that? Because a lot of times that's it. It's these people that in our mind we think are like powerful, and we are a little afraid then to approach them for whatever story our brain is creating. But if you call it what it is, name it, it's the power list. And you know what? We are powerful too, and we deserve other powerful people on our team or helping them with their health. So I love that, because the chicken list immediately puts a picture in your brain of like being a chicken, that we're afraid instead of power list. And you know what? Let's talk to those powerful people. So, but I hope this acronym of meals can help you think, and maybe, clearly we would love, Stacy, Christy, and I, Jane, as leaders of our teams, we'd love to see our team shift to using some of this language that is empowering and kind of lights up your energy a little bit more. But then, on the flip side, any of these, whether you may think, okay, that mindset part, I really need to evaluate where I am with mindset. Am I just in the wanting stage and I need to move to the willing? I'm willing to do this. And then with your energy, keep that in check every day. Wake up, you guys. It's like, do a spiritual download, whatever you need to do to remember who you are, who created you, how capable you are, and who's going to be lucky enough to meet you today and learn about Juice Plus and how this can absolutely change their life. And bring that energy to every conversation you have, rooted in love, not in fear, but just loving people for where they are. And then that energy then will flow through your activity, and the language will reinforce it, and your skills, you'll be brave enough to practice them that they'll be like riding a bike. So I hope that is helpful. And we just encourage everyone to close out this month super strong. This is the last week. August 1st falls next Wednesday, and we just are really excited to make the end of July absolutely blow it up, fireworks, and get ready for August. Again, the book for our August book club is Train Your Brain, and we'll post pictures in the Facebook groups. And I do see a question from Jane, and I was going to open it up for questions, or if Miss Stacy, Christy Zacher has any final thoughts. But the Powerball party, Angie, do you want to touch on that? Because Jane was asking, what's a Powerball party?
Glad you asked, Jane. So I had Rebecca and I shared making protein balls, but that sounds just a little bit bland, so we decided to turn it into a Powerball party. I like salad, but I'm not too hip on stuffing them into jars. That works for a lot of people, but it just didn't fit me. But a Powerball party sounded fun, so we made protein balls, called it a Powerball party. I bought a Powerball ticket, and the people who came got into a drawing for a Powerball ticket, but they started eating the protein balls made out of our shake mix. So and the recipes were there from to shoot a picture of, and then they could order the mix from us. Does that make sense?
That's so fun. I loved that. And then I know Train Your Brain is by Dana Wilde. Yes, so if you can see, that's what the book looks like. And it is not available. We still haven't found it in an Audible, but even Miss Stacy Zacker's reading hard copy. She is Miss Audiobook Queen. She listens to books constantly. I can't keep up with her. But it is worth it, and she has already started it and is loving it. So just want to encourage everyone, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Don't skip get over your damn self. It is foundational, you guys, for all of our business. I know Christy and I are both, and I think Angie did too, gifting it to new reps. We're wanting it to be part of their foundation, getting started. So it is fantastic. But jump in with us anytime. Join us in that Vox group for the month, talking about that book. Whatever works. And yeah, there's no pressure, but it's just good personal growth. So any final comments, Christy, or anything?
No, I think this was just a wonderful evening. I appreciate everyone that is on here tonight. And again, so much of it starts with our mindset. Whether we move forward, we have a good day or we have a bad day, so much of it is just our perception. And we can change that. We are absolutely in control. That's even though it's sometimes the hardest thing, but it's also the easiest thing, because it's a switch in our brain, and we have got to, but we've also got to stay in community. That's the other thing I just so encourage. It's so easy to get, once you get in that little pit, or you have that thought of negativity, it's kind of like that, the symptom or temptation of sin. Having a negative thought, that's not bad. Having a sinful thought, that is not bad. Or having stinking thinking, that's not bad. I mean, we all go through that, but do we dwell on that? Do we choose to dwell on it, or do we choose to flick it away and replace it with something that is pure and positive and full of abundance and full of love? What are we going to choose to listen to? So just encourage you guys, again, just finish out strong, reach out, keep those connection calls going. I know Stacy, Julie, and I have loved doing that. So fill our calendar up, and as Stacy always says, start strong, finish stronger, make the end of July amazing, and just launch you into August. So thank you all. Have an awesome night, and we will see you here. We have a special guest speaker for this next week, so stay tuned. Thanks.